Hey, good Kikuchi. That's well timed. Blue Jays win 5-3 in the first of a 4-game set against the Detroit Tigers here at Skydome. A lot of good and a little bit of bad in this one, so let's get into it. The good, yes, Yusei Kikuchi did not embarrass himself and shame his family and the House of Atreus. He was fine, a little better than fine. He was approaching good. He did give up a home run, he did give up some hard contact, but he also struck some guys out, and he didn't walk too many guys, and for the most part, kept things under wraps. He benefited from some good defense, but I mean, the good defense exists, so why shouldn't you take advantage of it, right? No, honestly, on the spectrum of Kikuchi outcomes, this was like top 10%, so we will absolutely take this and run with it. He's got another start coming. I guess he hasn't lost his job as a result of this one, so yay! Matt Chapman heating up spectacularly and at a great time. He's really kind of been the leader of the whole bottom of the lineup, really turning it on the last little while, but no one more than him. He's absolutely crushing it right now, looking great doing it, and providing his usual sterling defense at third base. So a really, really valuable turn for Matt Chapman right now. You'll love to see it. Simber and Romano with great turns out of the bullpen tonight. 4-out save from Jordan Romano. You don't like to ask him to do that often. You don't want to be in a position where you have to ask him to do it that often, but he's been pretty good about that. He's been fairly reliable at that, and not all closers are, so that is a nice little bonus, I think. Especially when we get into the playoffs. I did it again. Especially if we get into the playoffs and high leverage situations are not as neat and tidily presented to you as tonight's was. Having a guy like Romano who can go for more than just one clean start inning and shut it down, that's really great. Him elevating to use anytime, break in case of emergency, high leverage kind of guy, yeah, that's probably the best case scenario for us. It wasn't all sunshine and roses for the bullpen, however. Jimmy Garcia, my boy, the guy I called him the MVP of the bullpen to this point, and I truly believe that. I really think he is. He had a rough night, y'all. Now, part of it is he was put in an uncomfortable position pretty early on in his outing. I don't really know what happened between Bo and Lourdes there. According to Schneider in his post-game presser, it was just Bo didn't hear Lourdes until he was too close, and then it was too much momentum and he couldn't pull off. My question is, what the hell was Bo doing trying to get that ball in the first place? If that ball is hanging up long enough for you to get there, it's absolutely hanging up long enough for Lourdes to get there, and he's the outfielder, and it's right in front of him, and he's calling for it, and what are you doing out there in the first place, Bo? Listen, I love hustle as much as the next guy, maybe a little bit more than the next guy, but there comes a point where hustle crosses into recklessness, and we had passed that line about 8 or 9 feet before you got there, Bo, so I don't know. Improved communication, that's something that'll be nice, but also, Bo, understand where you are, where the ball is going to be, and where Lourdes is. That's his ball, man. It was his ball 1,000% of the time. On top of that, I don't want to say that Jimmy was getting squeezed there a little bit, because I think he was trying to live a little bit too fine on the edges of the plate. I would have liked to see a little bit more attack there from Jimmy, and that's normally something that he does. So I was a little bit surprised that he was trying to play too nice on the black there, but he wasn't not getting squeezed. There were a couple of borderline calls that could have been strikes. They were balls every single time, and it's not like it was Alfonso Marquez behind the plate. This guy's known for being a little bit more generous with his strike calls, so the fact that he gave absolutely nothing to Jimmy there was a little bit kind of eyebrow-raising. And all that did lead to a run to take what was a 4-2 game, make it 4-3. It wasn't exactly comfortable before, but then being in a situation where there's 2 outs and the tying run's at third base and we need to go to Romano for a 4th out, not ideal, but no, all's well that ends well, right? Also, in the 9th inning there, I don't remember the last time this happened. Like, I actually don't. I'm sure it has this season, but I couldn't tell you when. 2 runners on with nobody out. Yeah, lay down a bunt, Santiago Espinal. Go on with your bad self. Like, it's pretty much laid out perfectly in that scenario to do that, to actually do a little bit of small ball to get 1 run late in the game. You're only up by 1 late in the game. You got your closer already in the game. You want to make him a little more comfortable. You're just playing for 1 run here. That's not a normal Blue Jay thing to do, but yeah, that makes sense. Santiago Espinal is the best bunter on the team, and Danny Jansen is one of the most reliable players on the team to get the ball in the air, coming up right after Santiago. So yeah, it's pretty much laid out like on a red carpet for you. This is when you play small ball. I honestly don't know if Charlie Montoya would have done that. I don't know if John Schneider working for Charlie Montoya would have done that. But John Schneider working for John Schneider went with that. And that was, unexpected. Maybe a touch refreshing. I don't know. Normally I'm with the analytics guy where it's a way better proposition to play for more than one run, especially with this lineup. Bunch of bangers in this lineup, you know? But no, the Tigers are not especially great shakes offensively, and you have your closer, ostensibly your best reliever, in the game already. Just getting one run there makes the last inning 100% more comfortable, so that does make some sense there. I kind of liked it there. Anyway, it worked, so maybe that's why I liked it. If it hadn't worked, maybe I would have been a little bit more upset that they didn't try to go for the 3-run home run, especially because I didn't get a chance to see a Danny Dong. I almost did. He hit it exactly 328 feet to us, and I know that because the outfielder crashed right up against the numbers 328 there, so it's pretty easy to figure that one out. You know, like another 1.5 feet, and that's a 3-run home run, and we're laughing all the way to the bank. But it's still a well-executed small ball, get him over, get him in type situation. Nice. I like that. We've talked about some of the bad there. The Bo Lourdes thing, that was bad. Jimmy Garcia, that was bad. But the real bad takeaway here was George Springer looking pretty hurt. Like, John Schneider kind of downplayed it in his presser, talking about just a little bit uncomfortable and he's fine and everything else, but nah, I think this turns into an IL stint, y'all. I mean, seriously, George was everywhere tonight. He was on base for Kirk's RBI single. He had a great running and diving catch. That'll probably be on some highlight reels going forward. He had an absolutely fantastic throw from right field to hold the runner at third base instead of being a sacrifice fly. So instead of the Tigers tying the game in that inning, they only got to within one, and I think that's largely because of George's fantastic defensive read there. And just an absolute hose from right field, man. Like a perfect throw. It was a textbook. So losing him would be a big blow, but on the other hand, this elbow discomfort thing is something that was bothering him before the All-Star break. He gets all the way through he doesn't go to the All-Star game to which he had been appointed. He doesn't go to that game because he's got to rest his elbow. They rest him for a couple games after the All-Star break, so it's basically like a full week that he didn't play to rest this thing, and now we're like a week into the second half, and it's hurting him again to the point where he swings, hits the ball, and yelps in pain and holds it as he runs to first base. That's just not great. I mean, you can downplay it all you want, and maybe George wants to downplay it because he's a gamer. He wants to play. I understand that. But this is something that's bothered him for a little bit. It is now clearly interfering with his ability to play the game at the full level that we're used to seeing. And when Ross Atkins signed George Springer, he brought up several things. He brought up leadership, he brought up chemistry, he brought up great play in center field, a great hitter, but about 5 or 6 times, I swear to God, he mentioned that one key word, clutch. George Springer was brought to the Blue Jays for all the other things that were said there, but he was brought in to get big hits in big moments. And in that case, we're talking about postseason moments. When we're talking about big hits, we're not talking about a game in late July against the Tigers. If this team wants to go to the postseason and then go some distance in the postseason, if they're serious about that, they've got to get George Springer right. So there's no point running him out there for a regular season series against the bottom-feeding Tigers or whoever else that we're playing for the next couple weeks and risk aggravating that injury and making it worse, which it looked like they might have done today. Like, at this point, shut him down. Put him on the 15-day DL, get him a chance to really get ahead of this thing, get it right, and then be in good shape for when we really need him. And listen, I was advocating for late summer of George. I want an August explosion for George Springer too. But you need to be able to, swing your arms without yelping in pain in order to have that kind of offensive explosion. So let's get him where he needs to be. Plus, Tappy is doing great right now. He's absolutely hitting the cover off the ball. He's a nice left-handed alternative to a right-handed heavy lineup. I think there's not a lot of loss there by having Tappy in center field. We're looking for extra playing time for him. Great, here it is. So, outside of the Springer injury, I think it's all good for the Blue Jays here. I think the collision from Bo and Lourdes, that was a one-off. We haven't seen something like that in a long time, and they're always just kind of these flukish things, and it appears that no one was hurt from it, so let's just move on and breathe a sigh of relief. The Jimmy thing, this is like the second, third time in the season where he's had like a really bad outing after a long stretch of really good outings. So, yeah, I don't think there's any reason to be concerned about this. I think he'll be just fine, and he'll be back to his regular self starting tomorrow, perhaps. And Kikuchi didn't embarrass us, and Matt Chapman's getting hot, and everything is great. I mean, I was about to say we should have beat the crap out of the Tigers. It should have been 12-2 instead of 5-3. But man, it's baseball. Winning all the time is hard, and a win is a win is a win is a win. And we need wins. We're not looking to embarrass the Red Sox every single night. Once was fine. We just want W's, baby. And tonight was a W. But that's it for me for this one. Thank you very much for watching this video. Thank you very much for watching this channel. Like and subscribe, etc. I will see you tomorrow night, where, if my calculations are correct, my main man Alek Manoah is back on the bump, and that's always must-see TV. We will see you tomorrow night.